New Zealand celebrates Matariki as a public holiday for the first time in 2022. But how can you find the stars that give the holiday its name? In this video, I'll show you how to navigate the pre-dawn winter sky to find the Matariki star cluster. Matariki, known in Europe as the Pleiades or the Seven Sisters, is the brightest star cluster in the night sky and is visible from most parts of the world. It was one of the first objects examined by Galileo with his early telescope. But you don't need a telescope to see it. Depending on how good your eyes are, how bright the lights around you are, and how clear the sky is, you might be able to see anywhere between 6 and 14 individual stars. Galileo's sketch shows 36 stars. Modern telescopes can see over 1,000, and there are probably many, many more. To find Matariki, the best place to start is Tautoru, or Orion's belt. Some people call it the pot. Orion is one of the most obvious constellations in the sky. It's big and easy to spot, except in May and June, which is just when we're looking for it. As the Earth goes round the Sun appears against a rotating backdrop of stars. In May and June, the Sun appears to be moving across Taurus, which is in the neighbourhood of Orion and Matariki, so they're only above the horizon during the day, when you can't see them because they're swamped by the light of the Sun. Matariki is the time of year when the Matariki star cluster rises early enough to be visible briefly before the Sun comes up. To find Orion in late June or early July, go out half an hour before dawn. If you can, find a hill or a beach where you can see the eastern horizon. Look towards where the Sun will rise and then a bit to the right. The 3 stars of Orion's belt will be visible in a straight line near the horizon. Directly above them will be a bluish star. This is Rigel or Puanga. Puanga is Orion's foot. Orion represents an acrobatic hunter wielding a club and a shield and standing on his head. In the northern hemisphere, Orion is just an ordinary hunter, standing the right way up, which requires a lot less skill. Heading left from Orion's belt, you find a triangular arrangement of stars, or asterism, called Hyades, or Te Kokuta. The brightest star in this arrangement is Aldebaran, or Taumatakuku. Hyades is in the constellation of Taurus, and is supposedly the head of a bull. How you get a bull from this is beyond me, but I guess 3,000 years ago, before YouTube, people had a lot more time to stare at the sky and make stuff up. Once again, because we're in the southern hemisphere, Taurus the bull is charging headlong into the ground. Move left again to the bull's shoulder, and there's a fuzzy cluster of stars. This is Matariki. Depending on how good your eyes are and the state of the sky, you should be able to make out several individual stars in the cloud. The brightest of the bunch, the star of the show, is Matariki herself, the mother of the other stars. The stars are hot, young, fast-burning blue stars. They're probably around 100 million years old, which sounds like a lot, but it's not compared to our Sun, which is 4.5 billion years old. If you have a telescope, you may be able to see nebulae around some of the stars. Matariki is moving through a dust cloud. Starlight illuminates the dust, and the scattered light looks like a glowing cloud. The Merope Nebula, around Merope or Ururangi, has been one of the most closely studied reflection nebulae for 150 years. Ururangi is associated with the wind. This dust cloud is streaming past the star at 18 kilometers per second. Matariki reappears in the early morning sky in the middle of the New Zealand winter. It's not only a New Year celebration, but it's also a time to remember the dead. The constellations that we traversed to find Matariki are Northern Hemisphere inventions. An acrobatic hunter and a half an upside-down bull plummeting to Earth don't make much sense here. In Maori astronomy, one large constellation, a boat, Te Waka Orangi, stretches from Matariki at the prow to Tautoru, Orion's belt, and Te Hauorua, Orion's sword, at the stern. Te Kokota is the sail, and the string of stars that northerners see as Orion's shield is a fishing net cast down to the horizon. Taramainuku, the captain of the waka, sails across the sky with his net, catching the souls of the dead. When the constellation disappears below the horizon in May, he carries the souls he's collected to the underworld. When Te Waka Orangi rises again a few weeks later, these souls are released to become stars. Get up early one morning and see if you can find Matariki. Celebrate the passing of midwinter and the start of a new year, and take a moment to remember those who have been gathered in Taramainuku's net.